All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Pre-Market Prep. Spencer Israel here. Bit of a weird show today. Dennis has lost power again. I know. This happened like a few weeks ago, I feel like, or maybe a few months ago. It's happened again. Dennis has no power. If he joins the show, he joins the show. If he doesn't, he doesn't. But I spoke to him earlier, and he seemed very stressed, to say the least. I think the show is the least of his problems today, considering he has open trades on and no ability to trade them. So I got Joel, and he got me, and we got Gene Munster joining us today from Loup Ventures. He's going to talk about the Apple event from yesterday. He's going to talk about just tech, where he's seeing winners and losers. And yeah, so over the show, we're going to talk Netflix, we're going to talk earnings, we're going to talk crypto, solar, whatever you want to talk about. Why not? Smash that like button. Let's go to work here. This is Pre-Market Prep. Where's my intro? Coming to you live from downtown Detroit, this is Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep with your host, Joel Elconin.
This is a volatile puppy here, isn't it?
And Dennis Dick.
I'm bidding a penny. I will buy the stock for a penny.
With everything you need to start your trading day. Joel, you have power, I have power, and that's good enough. How are we doing today?
Are you buying that he doesn't have power? Are you really buying that, Spencer?
I would say when I called him, he sounded very, very stressed.
No.
Stressed.
No. I'm shorting that for one simple reason.
Why?
Because I kicked his butt on that bet yesterday.
He lost the bet yesterday, yeah.
He lost a bet. And,
Yeah.
Dennis tends to be, a little bit emotional sometimes, and he's mad because he lost a bet with a stock with his name in it. Dick Sporting Goods.
That's true. I didn't think about that, but that's true.
Yeah. Yep. He says, how could he do that? And the inside day, it was an inside day. In fact, the low was 99.19 from the day before. It went to 99.20, closed well above that. But he is in a fast market over there, folks. And man, when you have 100 positions, I just will say one thing. He's been in this position before, and he talked about getting a generator.
I know.
I don't know if he wants to do that before he gets to his new house, but whatever the case may be, folks, you can look on your screen. And when I got up this the middle of the night and I checked the quotes, I had to reboot my phone. And
that's crazy, right?
And then I asked Dennis in the morning if my quotes are correct, and he said yes. We're up 76 handles, folks. 75 handles at 40, 20, 42, 44. Just the weakest, ugliest close you've ever seen in your life. They hit it after hours and opened up, caught a bid straight up to 42.50. We just made a new high. And this is a capital I, if this market can hold on to these gains today and just not melt, then that's a great sign. And we're holding up. This is unbelievable move. Didn't see any direct headlines for it. You can make up whatever you want, but I don't know. The war's still going on. I don't know how things have changed. But you have crude oil coming off here, $3.38. That's good. It's down $3.38. 120.33. Gold losing its luster. That's down 33.50 at 2010. Silver getting hit too. That had a big move. That's down 36 cents at 26.56. Bitcoin, the big winner here. They're liking that regulation. That's up 34.70 at 41.975. We know where the big hurdle is on that. And Ethereum futures, they're going the same way, not as much on a percentage basis, but they're up $188.50 at 27.40.
So let's start with the Bitcoin thing, because this is interesting here. Because when did the rally actually start? It was last night. We've been ripping since 6 p.m.? No.
Yeah, well, no,
yeah,
this is 2,200. So, this is around your bedtime, around 10 o'clock.
yeah.
And
Mhm.
so when did the actual legislation come out?
It's
I
not
don't know.
even out yet. It's coming out today. So my point is, we've been ripping basically since like what 6 7 p.m. last night. Or really things really got going though at like 9 10 p.m. And the, there's going to be an executive order today. So the question is like, is the word on the street out already,
Yeah.
or is this just a massive fake out?
I think the word on the street is out. I mean, I heard this guy talking on CNBC, whatever that's worth. But also, it's it's going with the market here, right? And it was this market was risk on, right? And you want to talk risk and risk on. I think Bitcoin falls into that. How's ARK doing today? Is
All
ARK
right,
doing
I
anything?
guess the order is already out, but the point is, I don't think it was out last night, and maybe it was out last night, so maybe this whole thing is a moot point. But yeah, whoever Patrick Starr said it right. Regulation means acceptance,
Mhm.
and as long as they didn't do it, say anything crazy, you're right. It's an executive order, which obviously is not the same as legislation. It's not as powerful and easier to reverse, but um, yeah, I mean, this is interesting because the news of the EO, like we've known about this. We knew about this, I think, since last week that it was coming. But now that it's out, that that means what? It's out of the way. Buy everything. Buy crypto. I guess
I
so.
mean, that it's I guess it legitimizes it if it's going to the point where it's a step toward legitimizing it if the government's making orders on it and they want to try and avoid the money laundering or whatever. I don't think you'll ever get around that. Money laundering's been around as long as money's been around. So not sure what is going to come out of it. You can't argue with price, and that's it.
Yeah.
It's up $3,500.
Yeah. And you know what I think happened here is I think Secretary Yellen's statement got it was posted early because Cameron Winklevoss tweeted it. So her statement's on the site right now.
Oh, the Winklevossen, they're
And
still
and
around, huh?
the statement was it was not like it was not like we're attacking Bitcoin. It was a support more of a supportive stance there. So yeah, I mean crypto is one of your stories of the day here, right? We're up 9% overnight here in Bitcoin and Ethereum too. I mean, it's just that's one thing in the morning. The other thing in the morning is just the continued volatility, Joel. We've talked about this day in day out now. Um, I'm starting to wonder if there's just a degree less of a degree of less liquidity out there because we know that the less liquidity there is, the more volatility goes up, and volatility is certainly picking up here. The moves that we're seeing are just so dramatic, and I'm wondering if just a lack of liquidity has to do with that. People just
Well, you got a good point there.
yeah,
And I'm gonna quiz you, and
okay,
I'm gonna quiz the chat. And I'm a little, and I have mentioned it over the last couple days, but I haven't harped on it like I normally do.
yeah.
What is today and tomorrow? What goes on in the market that only goes on in certain months? What happens?
Quad wait,
Well, Quad Witch is next Friday. You're
yeah.
getting warm, warm, warm. You're getting warmer. But what happens before Quad Witch?
What happens before quad? Oh yeah, you mentioned this yesterday,
The
didn't you?
roll. There we go.
Yeah, yeah,
RFCWW
yeah, yeah,
949.
yeah.
Yeah.
The rollover.
So that there is a little, the volume is going between two contracts. So if you're, and I'll explain this one more time. If you are long the March, right, and you want to just roll it over, you want to, keep the position, you have to sell the March and buy the June. Okay, you can do them simultaneously, and a lot of people do that, but you have to roll over the position, uh, and so there's still liquidity there, but some people just don't do the spread, right? The actual, do it simultaneously. They try and be, a little coy about it. Some of the bigger players. So what if you were selling your March like all day yesterday, knowing that you were going to buy your June today? I'm just saying. then you put that spread on. It's such a discount to what the actual spread is trading at. And so that, if you look for, you look for unusual moves, during this. Now, tomorrow will be the June contract. I will still do my numbers on the March until Friday because the volume kind of comes over a little bit. But on Monday, I'll be all about the June, right? And so right now, I'm still about the March. Also, there's a little debate going on here about inflation, and I see Jay and Money Midge talking about it. And we had that conversation with Angie the other day. Remember, Angie Setzer,
Yeah, that's
and yeah, and she made that statement about the U.S. Being being able to produce our own food, right?
yeah.
And I thought about that statement, and I asked her about the markets and the commodity, and I asked her if I could call her and talk to her about it a little bit more. So I called her yesterday, and she backed that up with a couple different things. I won't go in all into it,
Okay.
but you know what she told me?
What?
She told me something really interesting. The cash markets and all these things are not confirming this move. The cash wheat market, the cash corn market, the cash soybean markets, they are trading at, and the futures are supposed to predict what's going to happen, right? But she said cash is always right. And right now, the cash, I mean, obviously the cash has moved up, but there's plenty of supply out there. There's plenty of wheat. There's plenty of soybeans. There's plenty of commodity. Now, I don't, the crude's a little bit different thing. But, and then she explained to me about we will get through this and unusual circumstances. And she did make one other comment that I really liked. She goes, "This has just been bizarro world, for the last couple of years, COVID, and
Yep.
now this war." And she said, if she woke up tomorrow morning and someone told her that there were aliens in Des Moines, Iowa,
You'd believe it.
she'd say, "Okay, well, I guess we got to deal with aliens
Yeah.
in Des Moines, Iowa." So, for you inflation people, I don't follow the cash, the spot market. I don't follow those as closely, but someone like Angie, who's has farmers and hedgers and
Mhm.
commercials, she keeps an eye on it. So
That's good to hear, Joel, because as we were talking about it like a little bit yesterday, every company really at the end of the day, everybody relies on the same raw materials, right? We all rely whether it's oil or metals, if you're an EV maker, every company relies on some form of raw materials. And if every raw material is going to go through the roof, then what does that
right.
mean for everybody else down the line? So it's good. That's good to hear that the cash markets are not supporting the craziness out there, because once you go down that rabbit hole, it's hard to climb out of it, frankly. So it does make me feel a little better. So thanks
Yeah,
for
I just sorry about that. Angie's Twitter handle is the goddess of grain. And man, oh man, we're gonna get her on a lot. We're gonna get her on a lot more, and it was fun. She was actually with the King of Corn, and they were talking to different farmers in the Midwest. So okay, 15-minute tangent. I don't get to do as many tangents when Dennis is around.
I
It's kind
know
of nice.
we both can talk more today because he's not
Let's get
here.
him on. Yeah, let's
Nice. So,
actually, I'm the one that pulled the plug on the power in his house, so I can talk more today.
so wait, so let's pivot here. Wait, let me check my order of operations on the side here. All right, we already talked about crypto. Joel, I want to talk about Netflix here,
Okay.
because there's a rating out today, an analyst rating that I thought I would never see in my life. Michael Pachter from Wedbush, who's been on our show many times, has had an underperform rating on Netflix, I think, for a decade. Don't quote me on that, but I think I think for 10 years or maybe 9 years, somewhere around there, he has been bearish Netflix. Not today. He is officially upgrading Netflix to neutral, Joel, because it's reached his price target that he gave. His price target was 342. Netflix is there now, and so the longest tenured bear for Netflix on the street is no longer a bear as of this morning. So I thought I would never see the day.
You know what you call that? Wiggling out.
Yeah.
Yep, you got it wiggling out, and I mean, it's I guess the next time that the stars will align is when, and we'll get them on here again soon, is when Gordon Johnson does the same thing with Tesla.
Hey,
You're
anything is
taking that?
possible. Anything is possible now. If Michael Pachter is no longer bearish Netflix, anything is possible. And give him props. He turned it. He upgraded the stock because the price. He has his models, and it got to his price. And so it's nothing personal. He's tied.
Hey,
He's married to the model, and he got there. And I just thought that was very notable. I don't think it's necessarily notable for the stock today because Netflix is trading with the rest of the market.
it's up. It's up.
But I just thought it was worth highlighting because I never thought I would see the day where Michael Pachter is bullish or at least not bearish on Netflix. And then let's go to earnings here because we had a number of them overnight, and we were just talking about commodities, Joel. So let's go over to Campbell's Soup, CPP. They reported overnight here earnings per share fine, 69 cents was in line. Sales a little bit light. They reported that their sales for last quarter fell due to, quote, industry-wide inflation and supply constraints. Net sales in the quarter decreased 3% year over year. Let me see. Do we have any guidance? We do have guidance. It was fine. That also makes me feel good. That Campbell Soup, which is, obviously relies on all sorts of commodities, right? Wheat, soy, sugar. They're saying that their fiscal year EPS guidance is going to be where the street thought it was. So that's good. That's good to hear as well.
What does this chart? What's the upper right chart remind you of? It's real short term here. Another test for Spencer.
The upper right chart is
the daily.
Oh, that's the daily. What does it
Yeah.
remind? What does it remind me of?
Yeah, what stock that we talked about? I'll give you a big hint.
So many of them look like this.
No, yeah, but very specific price action ahead of a report, and the report wasn't as bad.
Oh, very
Giving you a lot of hints here.
price action ahead of a report, and
We talked about it yesterday, and I talked about it at the beginning of the show.
Well, Dick's. Was it Dick's?
Yeah. That's what the Dick's chart looked like.
Yeah. You're right.
Yep. So street, well, yeah, the day before. So I was looking at what's today? Wednesday. I thought today was Friday for some reason.
No.
The price action. So I don't know if Campbell's Soup's going to pull the same old trick, right? I do know, and I kept this line up here because 42 had kept a lid on it for a while on the monthlies, and then it broke above it. It came down to 42 yesterday. I don't think I'm going to get real excited on the upside on this one until it can take out 43. And that's not too far. That's just using pre-market trading. It's not a great number. But that, whoever scooped it up on the cheap yesterday, they're keeping a lid on it at 43. And then, just use your half and whole numbers on the way up. If in fact it continues, if you do blast through that low, which could happen, you're only up 45 cents. I don't know how carried away you can get on the downside because of this trio of lows under 42.
Yeah.
So 41.75. So there is a quick look at Campbell Soup, who probably absolutely no one cares about and no one trades. I kind of like Progresso. And actually, Lisa makes the best soups. So not a big Campbell Soup fan, except for the double noodle, no chicken. The kids used to eat that a lot.
All right. I'll bring some in tomorrow. How about that? MongoDB is kind of your biggest tech report overnight. It is trading higher. MDB is your ticker. EPS beat by 10 cents. Sales beat 265 million versus 253. I'm sorry, that was the guidance. 265 versus 253 million dollars. That was your sales guidance. So that came in higher as well. The sales from last quarter also beat. It was mostly a good report. I mean, it was a good report.
Yeah, it's holding on to the gains, just hanging out at 360, up 12%. Man, new low of the move yesterday, so people getting their money back. I'll look at the 2-day high here of 314. If it holds 314, yeah, you got some more room on the upside. Your next daily high doesn't come into 332.43, so can't really not don't have as good a feel for this chart as I do like something like that Campbell's soup. But there it is, some nice profits there. Let's see if we can hold that 316 next target on the upside, 332.43, and who knows if the market crumbles. The top of yesterday's range was 290. I don't know. Doesn't look like you're going to see that right now, but who knows in this market?
Let's go to a pair of really beaten down stocks here that had earnings. One of them was Bumble. They also announced last night or yesterday that they are pulling out of Russia. I don't know how significant that is to their business. Maybe it is. I don't really know. The earnings were mostly fine. The revenue came in a smidge on the light side. Their average revenue per user was $22.83, which seems pretty good. That seems pretty strong.
Wait. They get 22. How? From the advertising on that thing?
No, from people paying the app. People paying.
Really?
Yeah, you can pay for stuff.
And that's where the girls get to choose, right?
It's where the women have to message first.
No.
The guys can't message first. Is the catch?
Is that really? That looks like it's been a great idea. Huh. 80. I don't know what to say about this one. Maybe I'll take one from Triple D. If I owned it, I'd sell it. After a big decline, you're trading near the highs of the pre-market session. The initial surge took it to 2075. Looks like you're kind of bid here. It's not completely, the bumble's not crumbling. So let's get through that 2075, and then I could give you another target on the upside, and that would be your next daily high comes in at 23.24. Will it see 23.24 today? I have no idea. Do we have a settlement around here? No, and that 23, that's going to be a big number going longer term because you had a couple closes in the lower 23 handle. It looks like it was going to hang in there. And then the next day it peaked at 23.24, and then it just got crushed. It went down to 19.48. I don't know if that was a bad market day or God, I can't even remember. That was Thursday. So that's what I'm looking at in Bumble. Good volume yesterday. So people were buying it up to see if they're just trying to
Hey,
flip it.
it's the number one stock on my gainers tool this morning, Joel. And I have some filters on, so I'm not looking at every single stock out there, but I am looking at most of them. And Bumble is up 22% this morning. It's the number one on my gainers list.
Reopening trade, right?
Sort of. Maybe. I hard to say really. Number 3 on my losers list, and this is at an all-time low, is Stitch Fix, and this is a company that is in. They are in transition. If you recall, the founder and the CEO stepped down last year.
Wow.
When was that? Was it last fall? Or no, I think it was last spring now. It was almost a year ago that happened. Or last summer, sorry. So anyway, earnings per share, it is what it is. I mean, they're not profitable. They're losing 28 cents per share. Sales beat by $1 million, which is nothing. All-time lows. I don't know it's single digits. It went from $113 a year ago to single digits today. Just brutal.
Chelly's kind of late. She said Dennis not show up today because Joel won the spy bet.
Yeah.
50% correct. It was because I won the Dick's Sporting Goods bet. Don't know what to say about this one. The only thing I can say is that they took it down to 8, right? And you got to bounce to 9. And then they took it down to 8 again. And now it's back up. So I don't know if you're going to get another chance to buy this at 8. I don't know if you want to buy it at 8, but I think you want to. And then if it goes 9 bid, boom, then you got some more upside. I wouldn't be too worried about, these couple highs here, maybe 9 to 930. If it clears that, then it's got some room on the upside. But yeah, Stitch Fix. Now they're I don't know. People want to go out and buy clothes, right? They don't want someone online sending them.
I know.
Obviously,
I've never used it, nor do I know anyone who has. But I had heard through the grapevine that it doesn't really work. that well.
Yeah, I mean, what
Yes.
are we? We're not exactly fashion aficionados, so
No, though I
and
do have to go shopping this weekend. So
oh yeah, where are you gonna go? What do you need?
I don't know. I haven't. I need some shirts. I don't know. I need a little bit of everything, Joel. A little bit of everything. I don't
Okay.
really know where to go. I'll take suggestions. Maybe I'll go to Target. Maybe I'll go to Kohl's. I don't know.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't know. It's
the,
been a while since I
the,
did that.
Dunkin' is
What
at
about Lululemon? You're making some big money. Why don't you go get
get
why
some
don't you
big
get
money. Is this one?
go
We
to get Lululemon,
yeah.
man?
I can't afford Lulu. Come on.
They're
You know
so
this.
nice there.
You know
They
this.
You just buy stuff because they're the girls that work there are so nice. Okay, go
Well,
ahead. What
I
else do we
mean,
want to?
that's the job, right? Is to be nice. Duncan asked if Etsy is a similar trade to Stitch Fix. Not really. Etsy is more of like a crap, like a
Yeah, they sell real
crap trade.
stuff.
Uh, well, the Stitch Fix sells real stuff too, but it's not just clothes.
But people make stuff and then they sell it. And
Yeah,
it's a little, and
Eh,
so you look at it, you buy it. You on Stitch Fix, you go and say, "Oh yeah, send me some dress pants."
yeah.
And then you're gonna be like, "I hate these pants." And then well,
Yeah.
whatever. Their
Well,
algorithms figuring things out. But no, Etsy's a different category here. Etsy's up 476 with the market. Beat up, got beat up with the rest of the, 110 to 164, 54-point move, 27. Let's just call it 30, 140. It did get back that area yesterday, but trading up today. I wouldn't mind it back in the 140 area.
Shelly, let me tell you, if there was a Uniqlo near me, I would 100% go to Uniqlo. But there is no Uniqlos in Detroit. There's only in the East Coast and Chicago, I think. So
What
uh,
what what place?
it's a Japanese store. It's called Uniqlo. It's fantastic. I have some great shirt clothes from there, but they're not in Michigan, so not going to happen for me this weekend. What else did I want to discuss? What else was on my list here? Let me go back there. I wanted to talk about. Oh, actually, I wanted to show you this chart. This is from Morgan Stanley, Joel. This is interesting here. This is a chart of the S&P 500. The
Hmm.
yellow line is the period from March 2018 to February 2019, right? And so that bottom there was the end of 2018 where we had that sell off, right? And the blue line is the current chart of the S&P 500. And it's not a perfect correlation, but it is kind of funny how they tend to rhyme a little bit. Um, that's
Uh,
so
I mean,
I thought this was an interesting chart.
I think it's kind of interesting too. And it's kind of stuff we're talking about. The only I mean, it's nice, it's pretty, and you can put your bids out there at 38.40 by early April. To me, it's a whole different world. It's a whole different
Agree.
world out there. I don't think I think comparing apples and apples here. Different, did we bump? I can't remember. Did they try and raise rates during that period?
No,
Was
no, I don't think we were raising rates.
No.
I think the last rate hike was like 2018. I think. Don't quote me on that. Or maybe 20 like
Yeah, I can't
late
remember. I
20.
mean, was there COVID? Was there a war?
No, there's
Yeah. So that
none of the above. There's no
I mean, it's a nice,
inflation.
pretty chart,
Yeah.
but I
All
don't
right.
know. It's
Fair
hard.
enough.
It's hard.
Yeah.
You can put stock in it, and it's nice, but it's just how I feel.
All right. Just what I need to do a better job of is telling people what sort of corporate events are on any given day, just so everyone knows. There is a Lordstown Motors showcase event today. Ticker ride for those of you who care. There is an event.
Yeah, and that shouldn't take very long to go through that exhibit. I think they have like one car or something.
Yeah. Dine Brands, DIN is the ticker. I think what do they own?
Restaurant, right?
Yeah,
Whew.
they own Applebee's and IHOP. They have an investor day today, DIN. So I need to do a
You
better
like
job.
Applebee's?
No, no, no,
I ate there once. It was horrible.
no. I mean I like it as a poor college student, but no, I
And I'm
don't
not a
recommend.
big pancake guy. So,
Okay, well there we go. But I want to start and then Woodward WWD has an investor day today. I want to do a better job of just telling people who has investor days so that there could be headlines or whatever. Um,
wow, they're smacking oil around, huh? Look at that.
Yeah.
What do you do? What do you do
I mean,
if
the market is just
in
going
oil?
high.
Look at this thing, man. Whew, 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 whew. I'll draw a line. As you notice, I've been easy on the technicals on this because holy mackerel.
I mean, it is. And someone tweeted at us last night. Have you seen the inverse correlation between the USO and the SPY? Yes, it's clear as day. There is a clear as day inverse correlation. Oil goes up, stocks go down, vice versa.
Not CVX. It's. I tell you, look at that CVX. Whew. So hard because it looks like 150. Oh, I'm gonna sell 150. I'm 155. Oh, 160. Oh boy. No, 165. No, 170. What do you got here? I'll give you a potential support point, and it's a capital P. You're filling a gap in 162.10 from Monday. Potential, but that's what I'm looking at. At least it'd be a gap. That's really there's another gap down here though. But they're up Spoo's new high.
I know.
Holy mackerel, what is going on?
I'm watching it just like you are, man.
If we hit yesterday's high, which was 42.75, I'm gonna walk on my hands down to the office. On the lodge.
That if we hit yesterday's high and wait in the
Yeah.
in
I
the
shouldn't say that. That's only 25.
that's
That's
not
only
very
20.
far away, Joel. That's
I know. I take that back. I'm not gonna do that.
42.75. That's
44
24.
handles on that.
Not even. Joel, do you know,
And I can't walk on my hands.
do you know what the national average for a gallon of gas is in the U.S. right now? $4.
Uh,
$4.25.
I heard one personal statistic.
Yeah,
I don't use that much oil. I mean,
I know.
how often? Like you're
There's
like
the
the
exception.
guys that slap the sticker on your car when you go to the oil change, they want you to come all the time, right? So they tell you, oh, you got to come in 3 months or so many thousand miles, right? I mean, who does that? I mean, you don't go until you get the change oil light on, right? And you smell something burning. That's when you
Yeah,
go in. That's when you go in and you get your oil changed. Also, gas. I mean, I fill up my tank. I got a big old tank. I fill my car up once every 3 weeks.
well,
Literally.
you also don't drive a lot, so
Yeah. Yep. And then also another thing I heard
yeah. Oh yeah,
what
Boris is pointing out that Joel doesn't do anything; his driver does it all for him. That's what.
and uh and
That's
then
what
what was the other thing? A very interesting statistic.
gotta bring Gene on.
In 2008, I wish I would have wrote this down. When we had the oil spike, our economy was much more reliant on oil. And it was Jeremy Siegel that I heard saying this on CNBC.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a smart guy. So,
Really smart guy.
and I think he said something that we're 25% reliant, where we were 75% reliant. I don't know. But he's also calling for like a lot of interest rate hikes. So, anyways, that's just about
All
my
right.
take on oil here.
Let's get Gene Munster on this show, founding partner at Loup Ventures. We have not talked Apple once today. They had their event yesterday. It came and went. There wasn't really any surprises, but I want Gene's thoughts on Apple and more. So he's going to join us by phone right now. Gene Munster, going to bring you on. Gene, are you here?
I am here, Spencer.
Yes. How are we doing today?
Doing fantastic. Great to be here.
All right.
Right.
I kind of
Wait.
mentioned.
Go ahead. You mentioned Apple, and then I got to.
The Apple event. There was nothing really unexpected out of that. Can you give us your reaction to it?
I think the takeaway was below the surface. People were focused on the product announcements, understandably. It's 5 to 10% of their revenue was captured in those. And I think the more important piece was looking beyond the headlines and just the reality that this is the first event they've had this year. They're on track to do 4 this year. They did 4 last year, 4 the year before. And what it tells me is a company is having success despite headwinds that we've all dealt with last couple of years, to getting products out, continuing on just a strict cadence. And that's the sign of a great company, a solid product development team. If you want to know how hard it is, just ask to get products out the door. Ask Rivian, ask Lucid, ask John Deere for that matter. And it ain't easy, and they keep doing it at a high level. And so why is that important? Is that for the stock to continue to move higher in the years to come, you have to have this product movement continuing, and that it comes in the form of upgrades, which we saw yesterday, a couple new products, which we saw in new product categories. And I suspect that if they can do it over the last couple of years, they can continue to do it in the next few years.
Of those new products, what jumped out to you?
Well, probably the biggest takeaway was that the iPhone SE, which is the entry level iPhone, they increased the price for the first time. It's been around for 6 years, and they increased it by 8%. It's nominal, but I think it is an indication that they have pricing leverage. And so, usually, you don't your entry level product. You try to keep it at an entry level price, and they've done that. They've held that line just across the board, but they have increased it. I think that stuck out. I would temper expectations whenever they come out with a new SE. There's some enthusiasm that they're going to start to grow market share. And if you look at what's happened with Apple's market share with phones over the last 6 years since the SE's been out, it has increased from 18% globally to about 20%. But most of that increase, in fact, all of it has come in the last 2 years as people have just been kind of reassessing their tech needs and paying up for better phones because it has higher service given everything that's been going on. And so I think that to answer your question, Spencer, I think the biggest takeaway was the pricing of the SE.
We're on the line with Gene Munster, the managing partner of Loup Ventures, originally from Piper Jaffray. So, Gene, over the years, when you've been on the show, I've been pretty easy on you. But I got a tough question for you today, and it's something that I'm going to ask it in specific to Apple, but then I think about other companies as well. How with the Russian situation, with Apple pulling out of Russia, right, and closing their stores for who knows how long, how much is that going to put a crimp in the next earnings reports and the next are you going to adjust your numbers down for the next quarter, for the next year, and just also discuss that on the whole? All these companies pulling out, it has to have a negative impact on earnings.
It does. And the answer is that Apple doesn't break it up. You can back into it. It's about just under 2% of total revenue comes from Russia. When you're close to a $400 billion company and you're trying to grow, every percent matters. And so the answer, Joel, is that it is a setback. It's a headwind. I've seen other numbers from other U.S. companies, whether it be Coca-Cola, Pepsi, McDonald's. They tend to be in that low single-digit percent impact. And so it's a headwind is the case. Do I think it's going to change numbers? No, because I think that analysts have probably underappreciated how strong Apple's product line is. But I do think that it takes away some upside.
Are there other potential dominoes here, Gene, or do we think that this is what's already happened here with regards to Apple and Russia? Are there any way this creates a domino effect with China at all? Or
yeah, if I would put the probability that something goes awry with China low, it's probably 5% chance.
okay.
Apple would be in a tight spot there, and I think it would be the companies that probably would be punished the most by investors, just given their supply chain connections there. 15% of revenue comes from there. Again, I don't think it's going to happen, but probably the better question is: do we think that investors are going to have increasing belief that there's going to be more friction, more conflict in Asia? And my sense is, I mean, this kind of changes on a week-to-week basis, but my sense is that, well, this has been frequently talked about as kind of the opening for China's move on Taiwan. I think that some of the alignment that we've seen between Europe and U.S. and Japan, I think, probably plays more into the hand that China will be reluctant. That's an amateur's guess on this. And so to answer your question, Spencer, it is something big. Apple's at the front center of it on that piece. And I don't think it should keep Apple investors up at night.
I was reading a note from Morgan, or a highlights of a note from Morgan, just regarding, and I'm going to pivot here away from Apple over to like Tesla and the EVs. And the Morgan Stanley note talked about supply costs, material costs specifically, right? And how Tesla is kind of the only EV maker around that has the ability to somewhat control their pricing on nickel, lithium, etc. The things they need for the batteries. Is that your sense as well?
Yeah, they have better pricing control, I think, than typical, just given the volumes that they're dealing with. But I think that there's a bigger theme going on in terms of electrification and the supply chain, whether it's the natural resources that go into it or just the manufacturing of it. And I think you still have that production is still largely anchored in Asia. It's anchored in Taiwan, and I think that that's something you're going to hear a lot more. I think of a company like Redwood Materials, private company founded by one of Tesla's founders, JB Strobel. But this is a company you're going to hear more about. It's not about battery recycling. I think it often gets lumped into that category that this is a battery recycling company.
Yeah.
They have close ties to Tesla, but it's really about battery manufacturing than anything.
You got someone short the market in the background there, Gene?
Yeah, you know what? I need 2 minutes here. Just if you guys can play, I think we may have a Zoom moment here. Please.
All right, Gene, I just moved you backstage. Now the problem will be so Gene will come back in a couple minutes. I think he's dealing with some sort of a market sell-off in the background or something there. I'm not quite sure what's going on. He's got I thought I heard someone say sell.
No, they're like it's a margin call or something. But anyways, we'll wait for Gene to come back there. Do we want to go back to earnings here? We're gonna have to go off script here a little bit. Did you want to go? Was there any? Did we get any earnings out of the way? I know we did the Pactor thing.
We covered most of them. I'm going through. Oh, here's one. I'm just noticing that XPO Logistics is near the top of my movers tool. They are doing a spin-off here today. They're splitting into two different companies. And this was announced yesterday after the close. They're spinning off their trucking and freight brokerage unit into separate companies. They're going to exit their European business and sell their U.S. intermodal operation. This is XPO. I'm just seeing that.
Oh boy,
And
yeah. Is Gene back?
I think Gene's back. Gene, you back?
I am. All systems good and under control. Thank you.
The margin call.
No problem.
Margin call is good there.
Everything is good.
Right,
yeah, we've turned up more positive. But my daughter's, my 5-year-old daughter's more positive than I am on the market, which love to talk to you guys about.
I'm sure. We'd love to hear it.
Yeah. What did she say?
Well, she's an internal optimist. I'm an optimist too, but I just think about the contours of this market, and this isn't overstating anything that's front and center, but we just take a step back. Over the last 6 months, there was anticipation that rates were going higher 6 months ago, and the market just kept going up. We knew rates were going higher. The market just kept going up. Inflation was hot September, October, and the market kind of just started to realize it or factored in January. Then we had geopolitical risk. There was not a surprise. There was the moves by Russia were well articulated or well documented for a month and a half, and there was a general sense, don't worry about it. And I think those two forces have partially been factored into the market, perhaps all entirely factored in. I hope so, but maybe not. But I do think that this piece around what energy costs are, understand that they are fluid right now. But I do sense, again, I come back to what the anticipation is going to be. The reality is less important to me. It's what the anticipation is. There going to be greater anticipation that there is energy-induced recession? And again, headlines all around anticipating that, but I just don't think the market has really factored that in. I think I kind of see it in today's movement too. The market wants to go higher in my view, but I still think that we're not quite at the bottom yet. Our fund is still greater than 50% in cash here. We're not going to call the bottom. I think the bottom's going to get put in place in the next 3 months. But I don't want to miss the rip back either. But I think we're just not there yet.
50%. Wow, Gene, it's like you almost like were reading my mind for like where I wanted to go, because I know you were, from following you and reading your weekly newsletter. And folks, if you guys don't sign up for his weekly newsletter, then you're wasting your time at Loup Ventures. It's a great read. It's something I like to read on the week because you see all the numbers and all the news and everything, and then just kind of a perspective when the markets are closed to talk about. So everyone should sign up
Appreciate
for
that.
that. But Gene, you were cautious on the market. And this is before the whole Russia thing, based on the interest rates. We had some private conversations about that. So you see a day like this, and it's so easy to think, I missed it. I missed it.
Yeah.
But we talk about not chasing, and in this market, it certainly hasn't paid to chase things on the upside, and on the other hand, when things settle into the hole on this, these rallies just kind of come and rip your face off. But like for the growth stocks, I mean, I know you're not Warren Buffett and you're not Kathy Wood, but you fall in between there, and you follow these growth stocks. Is there anything out there, notwithstanding today, in the tech growth that's got on your radar? Facebook
Yeah,
has come down a lot. What are you
I
looking
think
at, Gene?
we're investors in Facebook. Think that is at this point. We talk about that next wave of concern around around the recession risk. I think that Facebook is largely priced in. The fact that it's down 50% from its high doesn't mean anything, as we all know. What's more important is they still have an incredible advertising business, and they're going to have some tough comps here in the next few months as the IDFA from Apple. But I think that is why the stock has gone down. And so I think that is one where I'd say if you want to own large cap near term, I think Facebook is a good place to be. I think most of large cap is probably going to take a step back before a step forward. I'm a big believer. I think Apple's a $250 stock in the next couple of years, but I think a lot of big tech is going to see some softness here in the next month. And again, don't want to send a mixed message. I do think there's a whole nother theme that I don't think it's been really identified, but is this idea of M&A. And, we saw some activity yesterday from Microsoft and obviously what Amazon's doing. And we're going to hear more from if the Amazon deal, the MGM deal is going to go through or not in the next week or so. But I do think that there are real companies. I'll put them as real companies that have been obliterated here in the last 9 months. And I'd put companies like Toast, Affirm, Peloton, Redfin. These are companies that I'm not invested in any of those. I'm invested in other companies that kind of fit that profile, I would say.
Mhm.
But the basic idea is that if you're working M&A at large tech, you're first and foremost, you're thinking about how's the government going to impact. And it seems that the environment, I think, is subtly shifting more towards a favorable relationship with DC, given all the things that are going on geopolitical. I think that there is. I'm not saying it's going to be embracing in a hug. I'm just saying that it's not going to be as confrontational. I think that's an opportunity for M&A. And then separately, if your job is M&A and you've seen these companies go up a lot in the last 2 years, you are looking around and saying who is available, and you're getting to work. And I think you're going to see some M&A. And I think you could do a basket of some of these companies that are, again, real companies. Each of them has had their issues. Some of them have had real issues, aka Peloton. Others have had small issues that have really hit the stock hard. And I think that is an underappreciated part of tech investing here is going to be M&A over the next year.
Gene, you mentioned stocks like Affirm, and so many of these have been so beaten down. You're a fundamentals guy. So when you're looking at one of these stocks that's down 50, 60, 70% in the last year plus, what sort of things do you look for? What metrics, either on the balance sheet or income statement or whatever, what do you look for that tells you, okay, this is a good company here?
We did our methodology. We refer to it as a reverse DCF, reverse discount cash flow. And the way it works is we take the current price of a stock, and we try to factor in what our analysts and what our buy side expectations for earnings growth over the next 2 years. And so you can look at a valuation and use a discounted a discount rate and try to basically guess what investors are looking for. And where our light turns on, where we want to go green and be buying these, is at the point where we think that the street is mismodeling what the long-term growth is. I'll give you an example of a holding that we have. We own Zoom, and Zoom is it's up a lot from before the pandemic. It's down a lot from its peak. What's the true value? And we believe that what's priced in is something around 5 to 7% growth over the next few years. 5 to 7% earnings growth. And some people can say that's aggressive because we're going to be shifting back to 2019 world, and we're not going to be doing Zoom as much. Some people, including Loup, believe that that's conservative, that Zoom is now a verb. And there are some things that are going to be kind of with us for a long time. And when you have a product, so that's to answer your question, Spencer, that is our exercise is the reverse DCF. And that's an example of Zoom would be an example of how we would approach that.
Gene, I don't know if you want to comment on this at all, but man, there's such a huge discount with this Microsoft and Activision deal, and who knows when this is going to be resolved. $81. I mean, this thing, it doesn't move up, down, sideways, whatever. That's a real discount and a cash deal to $95. I know you're not a regulatory expert, but what do you look likely? I mean, is there $14 on the table out there, or downside, with the risk, downside maybe back down to 65, 70? Any comments on the Microsoft Activision deal?
I think there's money on the table, and I think that again, I'm basing it on trying to triangulate where regulators are, where Washington's at, and what this deal kind of represents in terms of is there really some regulatory issues there? And so I think that it ultimately gets done. That if you're going to ask me to put a probability on it, I would say there's an 80% chance it gets done, and you probably can do a weighted outcome there and figure out whether that means there's money on the table or not, because 80% chance it gets done, you're plus 14, 20%, you're down 30, something like that. I don't know what that ultimately comes out to.
Okay, one more out of me, and then see if Spencer has anything for you. You doing okay on time, Gene? I don't want
I
to.
got about 2 minutes.
Okay,
But,
okay, 2 minutes. Okay. My question is, and this kind of goes back to Facebook a little bit, and metaverse plays. Someone mentioned Unity software. If you could give us your comments on that, and then also metaverse plays.
So I think the best is Facebook. I think that you have the benefit of an ad business plus a company that believes very much in not only the hardware but the network around the metaverse, and so I think that's probably the most logical earnings backed play. And Unity is one company we've known a long time. We were investors in it when it was a private company, and go back to that reverse discounted cash flow, where it starts to get attractive for us is probably in that we're kind of in that range now where it's getting more attractive. I would say in the 70 to 85 range. So we're there. I'm a little bit. The reason why we're not backing up on that is it's still. I think it has high growth. The reason why it's not a backup is that I think that these types of companies are, given it's still trading at 8 or 10 times revenue, can be negatively impacted, even though they're down a lot, even more impacted if we kind of have fears of a recession. And so for me, it's to answer your question, I'd probably lean towards the bottom of that range, that $70 range.
All right, Gene Munster, managing partner, Loup Funds. Gene, always a pleasure, man. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Yep. Bye for now.
All right. Thanks, Gene.
All right. Gene Munster joining us by phone. We appreciate his time. All right, we got 5 minutes left today. If you missed the beginning of the show, Dennis is fine. He's alive. He's well, but he has no power, or at least as of an hour ago, he had no power. I hope he has power back now, but who can say at this point? So he'll be back with us tomorrow, presuming his power comes back on. But we're at the mercy of the utilities gods on that one. We got 5 minutes left in the day. If you have any tickers for us, drop them in the chat. Let me see what I missed here. So XPO Logistics, we talking about that, Joe. XPO.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
was talking about that. I mean, I'm kind of sarcastic when these kind of things kind of happen. Like,
yeah.
okay, does it automatically make the sum of the two parts $8 or 13% better?
I know.
I don't know. You know, it certainly worked for a company like Alcoa, right? That they split up. So, short term, I have no idea. I'll just give you the pre-market high seven. I guess long term, I have no idea. 71.32. That's your pre-market high. New low of the move yesterday. You got a gap fill. Oh, right. Oh, you're filling a gap here at 71.26. So, oh, and that was actually a double bottom too. So that's my target on the upside. Get there. After that, it opens up a little bit more. But if it starts to fade, you got a long ways to go down to get to the top. It's possible for me to find a support point for you if they start to hit this thing, if the sellers come in.
All right, some tickers from the chat we can go to. Okay, we haven't looked at Nokia for a while. Nokia, reminder, trades overseas in Europe, so the NOK ADR in the U.S. will reflect whatever price action's happening overnight a little bit. So it's down this morning. Actually, it's been down.
It's
Up this morning, but it's down big in the last.
That's the best of all these stocks, and you pick Nokia.
Well, I'm going from the chat, and I'm trying to find.
Jesus
I'm trying to
Murphy.
find.
Holy mackerel.
I'm trying to we talk about the same 24 stocks all the time. I'm trying to find ones that we don't normally talk about, like Nokia.
I would say a European company, so that's
Yeah.
not good, right? What's going on over there? I keep an eye on 485. We're right there right now. 478 was your three highs right there at like 480, 485. So if it catches a bid, holds the bid, yeah, maybe you can move up closer to $5. But I mean, this stock, I mean, it's just it got reddited, right? And it got over $9, came back to $4. I mean, I just probably other places to put your money than
All right,
yeah.
Generac. They all want to do Generac now.
Generac because Dennis
Dennis.
lost his power.
That's why.
Oh man, our generator is so good, but it's so old. I get so nervous. We got to move off earnings, and then we paused, right? And we paused big time. I can't just say 320 because there's a few highs over there at 320. And what was this? The high of the move certainly 329.50. But if you're looking at this overall, let's say you want to get in, what you went from 252 to what 330. Oh, that's getting a little bit tougher. I'm gonna have to use my retracement tool here. I would say if you're looking to get this on a pullback, maybe 292 to $300 area, getting kind of close to there. If you think that this was like a major bottom here, or if you're long and you're just trying to sweat out this decline, you might have to wait to see it form a bottom 295, 300. That's what I'm
All
looking
right.
at.
And then what do ZIM? This is a shipping play. They had earnings this morning, and man, they blew it away on the earnings, on the sales. The EBITDA guidance was good.
Big move. Wow.
Yeah.
This is a champ, huh?
Oh yeah. Oh, is that an all-time high?
Yeah, it is. This stock has
Oh
not been
boy.
around. One down month since its IPO, it looks
Holy
like, or at
moly.
least green candles. Above 75, I don't know where it goes. I mean, I'll give you the pre-market high. You had a few sellers here at just under 78. So projected range, if they want to get it going to the upside, make sure it gets through 78 and holds. And on the downside, there is a big gap here. But that former all-time high, 75, I'd use that as potential support. If you don't want to buy, if you're waiting to buy it on a pullback, you want to wait. 75 is a little too early for you. Double top there, right at $73, 73, even 72.79 would be the next support point.
All right, it is 9 a.m. Fun show, a show where Joel and I got to spread our wings a little bit more because Dennis wasn't here to hog half the conversation, but we missed him nonetheless.
Dennis who?
Exactly. He'll be back tomorrow morning. Joel, I'll catch you later on the At the Close show, everyone. I'm going to hop because live trading with Benzinga starting live in 5 minutes. Before I go, though, some PSAs. Number one, there was someone in our chat last week that kept asking about App Harvest, APPH. We're going to have App Harvest on Benzinga Live later today. We're going to have the CEO on at 12:30, David Lee. The president, David Lee, on at 12:30 Eastern time. That's the first thing I want to say. Second thing I want to say is we are like 6 weeks out now from our next in-person event, the Benzinga Cannabis Capital Conference, April 20th and 21st. There's a link in the chat, in the description of this video, with a discount code SHOWS30. It gets you 30% off your ticket. Go to bzcannabis.com. Again, the link is in the description of this video. Thanks to our guest, Gene Munster. Please remember, all the information from our show is meant to be used as informational purposes, not for investing or trading advice. TBD on whether I'll be there, Boris, because someone's got to stay behind and do the normal stuff. So TBD on that. But it's going to be an amazing event. Canopy Growth will be there. I think Cresco, Curaleaf will be there. Tilray, you think will be there. So big. It'll be a big conference. All right, we got to hop live trading with Benzinga. Ryan, Zunaid, Mitch, get ready to go live at 9:05. The stream will end. Redirect to that. Please, wherever you're watching this, smash that like button, that thumbs up button. It really does help us. And catch you guys later.